Good morning, students. Welcome back to online course on data structures and algorithms. Before your external exams, we suspended the classwork. Now, after the external exams, again we are resuming this classwork. So, before your external exams, we have completed 2.5 units, and now we have to wind up the remaining syllabus on or before your final external exams. So, Uh, before going any further or before starting any new concept, I thought of having a quick review on your third unit. Okay, basically the first two units we have seen the basics into C++ programming, and the actual data structures we have started from the third unit. So let's quickly have a review on this third unit part, whatever we discussed, and after that we'll continue and we'll wind up soon as possible this complete third unit. So we started the third unit. The topic or the name of the unit is linked lists, isn't it? So we are going to discuss two types of linked lists in this third unit: singly linked lists and doubly linked lists. Singly linked lists we have already seen, we have already discussed, and as we said, the motive of having this concept, we discussed arrays prior to the discussion of this singly linked lists, isn't it? Prior to the implementation or prior to the discussion of this singly linked list, we were having arrays. So there are many shortcomings inside your arrays concept, isn't it? Because of their fixed nature, and because of their consecutive memory location allocation. All these are some of the drawbacks which we discussed inside arrays. So because your arrays are having all these problems, we have gone to this singly linked lists. And singly linked lists, we said everything is dynamic. The memory allocation, the size, everything is dynamic, isn't it? And yeah, so singly linked lists we started, and what is a singly linked list we discussed. It is a way to store the collection of elements. It is basically a collection. It is a like your arrays, it is also a collection. Inside a singly linked list, we can store data elements, isn't it? Uh, yeah. Then we said, yeah, in order to do the implementation of a singly linked list, we have to know what exactly a node is. So a node, we said, it is a collection of two different things. One is data as well as one is a pointer. So basically what we are doing in order to create a node in our programming means we are declaring a class with two data members. One data member is a with two one data member, it is going to be the data part, and the second data member, it is going to be a pointer to the next element inside the singly linked list. What the pointer is going to do means it is going to point the next element, isn't it? So all these things we have seen. Then the simple implementation of a singly linked list with the three different nodes I have shown, and then why we are going for singly linked lists, advantages over arrays, drawbacks. Even singly linked lists, they too have some of the drawbacks, because like in arrays, how we are accessing all the elements simply by making use of the index, here it is not possible. Okay, we have to access all the elements sequentially inside a singly linked list. How we have to access all the elements? We have to access sequentially. If you are accessing the first element, you have to start from the first element itself, and if you are accessing the 10th element, in that case also you have to start from the first element only. So sequential access is possible inside a singly linked list, but whereas inside an array, random access is possible. If you want to access the 10th element, the index will be 9, so a of 9, array of 9 will give you the value. Random access is possible inside an array. That is not possible inside the singly linked list. So this is one drawback. And another drawback is it will take extra memory. To store the pointer, it will take extra memory, which is not required inside your arrays. Your array is only the collection of data elements, but whereas singly linked list, it is a collection of data as well as pointers. Okay. Uh, Yeah, representation we have seen. This is node representation in terms of code. So you have to declare, in order to create a node, you have to create a class with name node, and inside that you have to declare two data members. One is an integer variable which stores the actual data. If you want to store integer values, you declare that variable as an integer. If you want to store characters, declare that variable as a character. So any type of data you can store inside a singly linked list. It is not compulsory, it is not must that you have to store only integers. All these things we discussed already. Okay, again, the second uh, data part, I mean the second data member, what we are declaring inside this class is a uh, pointer to object, isn't it? It is a pointer to object. So this object, it is capable of pointing a variable of type node. So when you are creating multiple nodes inside your singly linked list, this next pointer is capable of pointing the next node inside your singly linked list. Okay. So we have seen the implementation of singly linked list with the tree nodes. Okay. The traversal we discussed, traversal is nothing but visiting all the nodes inside your data structure. So whenever you are doing the traversal, it is nothing but visiting. It is a way of accessing all the elements. It is a way to visit all the nodes to get the value and print the value. That's it. Traversal will not change any data value inside your data structure. You have to remember this one. Traversal will not change any data value inside your data structure. It's simply a way of accessing the elements from your data structure. Will start from the beginning and will end at the last position of your singly linked list, and in between, when we are moving, as we are moving, will access all the data elements. So this is nothing but traversal. Okay, so with three nodes we have seen, yeah, this print list, I told you this is one of the important function, because the traversal function, basically what this print list will do means it will perform the traversal. It will visit all the nodes inside your singly linked list and print the respective values of those nodes. So the time complexity of traversal function, it is also one of the important thing. And what is time complexity and all, again I'm not going to repeat, because we have a thorough idea of what is time complexity and why we are calculating time complexity, and what is the advantage of having the time complexity function. Okay, so the next thing, insertion operation. Whenever we want to insert a new node inside a singly linked list, we have to perform the insert operation. So that insert operation, we said we can perform in three different ways. Okay. You can have many ways. It is up to you how you want to do that insertion. It is up to you. But we have selected three standardized ways. In that way, you remember, we have selected three standardized ways to perform the insertion operation. So at the front of the singly linked list, we can do the insertion, and we are calling that function as add at first. See, all these things, many of you are asked these doubts to me, that this add at first, add after, add at end, whatever functions we are using, are they predefined? See, if they are predefined, then again, why we are writing the code? You have to think in that way. They are not predefined. They are user defined. They are just the name given by. They are just the names given by me. Okay, and many people are asking, sir, when we are referring the same concept on the internet, we have some different coding over there and different aspects over there. See, if you refer 10 books from 10 different authors, you will get 10 different ideas. Don't think that all those peoples, they are misguiding you, or all those peoples, they are taking you in a different way, or all those peoples are giving you the wrong information. It is not like that. See, the concept wise, you have to take the point. Okay, the concept wise, what a data structure will do, the concept is defined, the concept is standardized, and that concept, how you are implementing, it is up to you. What functions you are using, what internal logic you are using, it is up to you. Okay, the concept you have to implement. Singly linked list, how it will work. Okay, how it will work, that concept you have to implement. What logic you are using, what variables you are using, what functions you are using, what class names you are using, all those things, they are simply generalized things. It is up to you how you are implementing a singly linked list. The concept was standardized, not the implementation. You have to remember this one. Only the concept, when we are saying singly linked list, only the concept was standardized, that a singly linked list will be defined like this, and a singly linked list will operate like this, and insertion will be performed like this, deletion will be performed like this. Only those concepts are standardized. Rest of the things, the implementation, the testing, all those things are simply generalized. It is up to you. You as a developer, how you will develop a singly linked list, it is up to you. Okay, so just keep that thing in your mind. So at the front of the singly linked list, how we do the insertion, after a given node, so generally we'll give a node position, and the function has to insert a new node after that given node position. So that is nothing but after add after. Then we have add the end of the singly link, add it end. This function will do what it will do. It will add a newly created node at the end of the singly linked list. At the end of the singly linked list, it is going to add a new node, newly created node. So, and we have seen how these functions will be performed, both the concept wise discussion we had and the implementation we had, isn't it? I have shown you clearly by executing that code on our IDE. So the examples we discussed, the graphical representation we have seen when we are performing the add at first, how we have to perform, and the implementation also I have shown you. Okay, so then add a node after a given position, that is add after. How the add after function will do. So this is graphical representation. Then we have seen the coding. Okay, and not only the implementation in terms of coding, but also we have seen the time complexity. So you have to remember both the implementation as well as the time complexity. See, again, many of you are approached me, sir, remembering the time complexity or analyzing the time complexity, it is going very difficult for us. It is very easy. It is very simple. I told you, I have given you, when we discussed these asymptotic notations, or when we discussed this algorithmic analysis, at that point only I have given you the complete idea. It is very easy. Simply you have to look for that code. Simply you have to look for that algorithm. Inside it, do we have any looping statements? Do we have any looping statements? If there is no loop inside your algorithm, if there is no repetition, then the time complexity will be order of 1, because we are having all sequential what we call statements. If you have all sequential statements, the time complexity will be order of 1. If you have a loop inside a code, if you have a loop and that loop is repeating for some unknown number of times, if that loop is repeating for some unknown number of times, then we call that unknown number of times as n times, isn't it? We call that unknown number of times as n times, and our time complexity function will become a variant of n, and our time complexity function is order of n, isn't it? Isn't it? Order of n. Then if there are nested loops, a loop within a loop, if you have nested loops, then your time complexity function will become, okay, a variant of n square, isn't it? A variant of n square. Then the time complexity function is order of n square. We can have up to 3, isn't it? We can use up to 3 loops into one and another. So likewise, if you have nested loops, okay, 3 times nested loops, one loop, within that another loop, and within that another loop. Likewise, if you have, then the time complexity function will be order of n cube. And moreover, whenever we are writing this time complexity analysis, we are not doing the complete stuff. By seeing the code, you have to tell what is the time complexity. Only that thing you have to write. Okay, only that thing you have to write. But just see the code of the function, and if there is a loop, write the time complexity function as order of n. If there is no loop, order of 1. If there is nested loop, order of n square. If there are nested loop within another loop, then order of n cube. Likewise, you have to write. Okay. So the next thing, yeah, all these adding functions we discussed. Then the searching operation we discussed. Searching operation, yes, from first to end we have to search all the elements. So time complexity will be order of n. Okay, search operations time complexity is order of n, because as you can see here we have a loop, while loop. Okay, we have a loop and we don't know how many times this loop will iterate, isn't it? How many times this loop will iterate, that we don't know. As long as your temp variable will not become null, this loop will iterate. So when the temp variable will become null, that we don't know. So here that unknown number of times will become n times. So that is nothing but order of n. Your time complexity function is order of n. Okay. The next thing is deletion operation. This also we have seen how we can delete the nodes from your singly linked list. This is also we have seen. Okay. Okay, delete operations we have again, I think 3 or 4 we discussed, isn't it? Okay, deleting a node with first occurrence of key value from the singly linked list, deleting a node at a given position, and deleting the complete singly linked list. So 3 different types of deletion operations we discussed. So yeah, I have given the complete clarity on that one. If you want, you can go and you can watch my videos once again to have a clarity. Okay, next, with deletion operation. Okay, first we discussed traversal operation, that is nothing but printing all the elements from your singly linked list, visiting all the elements and printing their values from your singly linked list, that is nothing but traversal. We discussed insertion, inserting new node into your singly linked list in 3 different ways. Then searching, we discussed searching for a given node inside your singly linked list, order of n time complexity. Then deletion operation again in 3 different ways: deleting from the front, deleting from the end, deleting the entire singly linked list. That also we have discussed. So next thing is the after having this data structure, linked list data structure handy, with that data structure, how many implementations we can do? Okay, so simply we have to discuss implementation of a stack, because this stack and queues, some of the standardized data structures, those we have in our discussion. So after having the discussion of this linked list, a motivative concept after your arrays. So previously we have seen in your second unit, we have seen the implementation of stack, implementation of queue, implementation of circular queue. All these things we have seen with the help of arrays. Okay, with the help of arrays. We said array is also a data structure. So now as we had a discussion on a new variety of data structure, a new type of data structure, that is singly linked list. With this singly linked list, the implementation of stack and the implementation of queue we have to see. So implementation of stack, it is very easy. So what we said, all the elements inside your stack will be performed in LIFO fashion. All the operations onto your stack will be performed in LIFO fashion. LIFO fashion is nothing but last in, first out. Whatever element you have inserted or whatever element you have pushed onto the stack most recently, that will be popped first. That will be popped first. So we had an in-depth discussion on this stack in your second unit. How we do the popping operation, how we perform the push operation on a stack, the examples, the varieties, everything we have seen. Okay, and we said one of the important one of the important element inside your stack whenever we are performing the operations is top of the stack, isn't it? Top of the stack, we have to pay the attention, we have to pay the focus on top of the stack whenever we are performing the insertion or deletion operation. So we had a similarity between the singly linked list and the stack. So inside a singly linked list, to perform the operation, we are using the head pointer, isn't it? We are using a head pointer in order to perform the insertion deletion operations. And if you convert that head as a top, and if you perform all your operations at the head pointer only, so that means no add at first, no add at first, you have to perform only add at end. Add at end is nothing but you have to move the head and you have to add the nodes at the end location only. Okay, so yeah, we'll see the graphical representation, basically how we move the head, and that is nothing but how we move the top pointer and we perform the insertion, that is nothing but push operation. Moving the top pointer, perform the push operation. Okay, again move the top pointer and perform the pop operation. So that we will see. So that discussion, okay, whatever I have given just now, the discussion, all those things are here. We are going to have a head pointer inside a singly linked list. We are going to have a top pointer in a stack, that is the similarity. And by moving the head back and forth, by moving the top pointer back and forth, we perform the push and pop operations. Okay, having null inside your top pointer indicates the emptiness of your stack. Okay, that is another important rule you have to remember. So quickly go. So what different types of operations we can perform onto a stack if it is implemented using singly linked list, in the sense we can perform push, that is nothing but inserting a new element into the stack. We can perform pop, removing or deleting an element from the top of the stack, deleting an existing element from the top of the stack. Okay, then peek we can perform. Peek is nothing but always it returns the, it will not delete, it will simply access the top of the stack element. Whatever element we are having at top of the stack, that element we can access using this peek operation. Then is empty, it will check the emptiness of your stack. We are not having is full over here. The reason, as we said, your linked list, it is dynamic in nature. It can expand to the extent of your memory. How much memory you have, that many elements you can insert into your singly linked list, and it is very huge, so we don't have any limitation on that one. So there will be no is full operation if it is if your stack is implemented using singly linked list. See, again, few people came to me and they asked me that, sir, we have seen the implementation of a single stack using singly linked list, and people are discussing over there that we can have the is full even if it is implemented using singly linked list, even if the stack is implemented using singly linked list. Yes, maybe their way of implementation is going accordingly. Maybe they need to have a limit even if they are implementing the stack using singly linked list. But for my consideration, according to my research, according to my reference textbook, I felt that it is not compulsory that we have to put a limit when we are doing the implementation using singly linked list. That is the reason why I have implemented in this way. So yes, you are going through the references, you are going through the implementation. It is very good to me. It is very good to me. Okay, then isEmpty we discussed. Then display. What it will do, it is something like a traversal function. It will visit all your nodes inside the stack and it will print all the values from the stack. Okay, the next thing, yeah, the implementation. See, when the stack is empty, your top is pointing to null. When the stack is empty, your top is pointing to null. And yeah, we have created a new node, and that new node's address is 5000. Maybe it is, hopefully it is visible to you. That new node's address is 5000, and that 5000 we are storing into the top. And the newly created node, now it is having the null pointer. Previously the top was having the null pointer, and we are considering the stack as empty. When the top was having the null pointer, we are considering the entire stack as empty. But now the top is pointing to this newly created node, and because of that reason, when it is pointing to that newly created node, it will hold the address of that newly created node. As it is holding the address of that newly created node, no more the stack is empty, isn't it? No more the stack is empty. And now you have one element inside the stack, and that one element, that new node element's next pointer is null. Okay, so in order to read this element, we have to make a temporary pointer so that it will point the top and you can read this element. Okay, so the next thing, adding another element, yeah, like this you can do. The newly created nodes next pointer will be, sorry, the newly created nodes next pointer will point the previous node, and the top will move and point the newly created node. Always the top will point the newly created node only. Okay, and the first created node, because we have to move in this direction, okay, we have to move in this direction so that the newly created node will become available to pop, isn't it? Will become available to perform the pop. If you put the top at this location only and newly created nodes, if you make null, then what will happen? It will become a queue. It will become a queue. First in, first out. So that we will see in our next discussion. So hopefully you understood this one. Simply what we are doing, yeah, we are moving the top uh, uh, fourth. That is nothing but we are moving the top ahead always when we are adding a new element. We are moving the top ahead always when we are adding a new element, and the first added element's next pointer will become null, so as to have the top always pointing the most recently added element. You have to understand this. This is very important statement. So why we are doing like that? Why we are moving the top ahead? Okay, one step ahead every time when we are adding a new element into the stack means so as to have the top pointing the most recently added element into the stack. That is the job of the top, isn't it? That is the job of the top inside your stack. It has to point, it should always point the most recently added element into the stack. Because when you perform the pop operation, where it has to be performed? Onto the top of the stack only. And we said the most recently added element, the most recently pushed element will be popped first. That is the concept of LIFO, last in, first out. Hopefully you understood. So likewise, we have added 4 elements. Okay, and this particular situation is not top of the stack. You have to remember, you have to understand. Okay, this is not top of the stack. Sorry, this is not full of stack full condition. We can still add more elements, but as we have to limit our discussion, I have added only 4 elements into this stack. Okay, then after adding the 44, now I am performing the pop operation. So 44 added most recently, 44 added lastly, so it will be deleted first. It will be popped first. So now 44 will be removed and top will come to the second most recently added element. So this is first most recently added element and this is second most recently added element. So the top will point second most recently added element. Next we are removing that 3 or 33 also, then the top will come to the 22. Likewise till it becomes empty. So after popping the last element from the stack, the top will become null, so as to indicate the stack as empty. The top will become null. After deleting the last element, the top will become null. So this discussion we had in our last sessions only up to the implementation of stack we had. So we implemented the stack. This is the empty condition. This is the push operation, pop operation, peek operation, display operation. All these things we have discussed. So now the queue implementation. Queue implementation again using singly linked list only. So queue is nothing but we are going to do the insertion deletion. Here no more push and pop. Push and pop we use this terminology we use only in stack. But now when it comes to queue, we use a different terminology. Whenever we are performing the insertion operation, we call it as NQ. And whenever we are performing the deletion operation, we call it as DQ. Adding the element to the queue data structure, we call it as NQ, and removing the elements from the data structure, from the queue data structure, we call it as DQ. So here also the same thing we use. I mean, the terminology may differ, but the concept is very simple. Yeah, it slightly differs from the implementation of stack. Your queue implementation, it slightly differs because here, over there we followed the strategy of FIFO, first in, first out. But here we have to follow the strategy of LIFO, last in, first out. Sorry, there LIFO, here FIFO, first in, first out. So whatever element we have inserted, whatever element we have enqueued first, that has to be dequeued first. Unlike most recently, here whatever least recently, not most recently, least recently added element will be dequeued first. Quite opposite, isn't it? Over there, we said most recently added element will be popped first. Here, least recently added element will be dequeued first. See, if you practice the terminology, if you practice the programs, if you follow the theory classes, that is more than enough for your preparation. So many people, why they will struggle at the end of the semester means because they don't follow the terminology, because they don't pay attention when the concepts are running in the classrooms. So following the terminology, it is very, very, very important, because with the help of terminology only we are going to narrate the questions inside your external exams. Terminology will help you to write the exams. Okay, if you don't know the concept, at least you can manipulate over there. If you know the terminology, at least you can manipulate over there. I don't want you people to do in that way. I don't want you people to go in that direction, because sometimes what will happen means whatever we are preparing, whatever we are going throughout the semester, when we see the question paper, they will ask entirely different stuff. So at that moment of time, this terminology will help you. Believe me, it is going to help you a lot. Okay. So yes, yeah, here we are going to, instead of maintaining a single pointer known as top of the stack, what we are doing inside a stack, here we need two different pointers. One is the rear pointer, another one is the front pointer, isn't it? Front and rear pointers. We need two pointers over here, and these two pointers, they are exactly same like your head pointer. Exactly same like your head pointer. So here, whenever we are, already I explained you. Insertion operation, adding elements operation is NQ operation. Removing the elements operation is the DQ operation. Okay. So NQ operation, whenever we are performing, how we are performing means we are adding the element at the front of the queue. At the front of the queue, we are adding the elements. Okay. Sorry, at the rear end of the queue. Sorry, I've got mistaken. So NQ operation always we perform at the rear end of the queue, and DQ operation always we perform at the front end of the queue. The same discussion we had when we did the implementation using arrays. So remember, NQing always we do at the rear end. See, if you have formed a queue for some service to get at the reservation counters or at the bill payment counters or at the movie theaters, we generally form the queues, isn't it? To get the service, if there are more people means what we will do, in your library also, if more number of students are approaching, then ultimately what they have to do, they have to form a queue, isn't it? So how that queue will work? Whoever is coming, whoever is insisting to join that queue, from where they will join? From the rear end, isn't it? They have to stand in the back only. We don't have the flexibility that we are going to allow him in the front, isn't it? So always inside a queue, we have to join the new elements, or we have to join the new persons from the rear end, from the back end, isn't it? So, and removal, how it will takes place? Whoever is getting the service, they will be removed, isn't it? Whoever is getting the service of service for what they are waiting, they will be removed from the front end. So this simple concept. So here also we are maintaining two pointers. One is front pointer, rear pointer. Addition will be done from the rear end. Removal will be done from the front end. Okay. So what type of operations we can perform on a queue means NQ. This is nothing but adding the new elements. DQ, removing the already existing element. Insertion, NQing will be performed at the rear end. Deletion, DQing will be performed at the front end. So is empty, it will check whether your queue is empty or not, and display, again the traversal, it will traverse back and forth and print all the elements from your queue. Hopefully you got it. So the next thing, yeah, here you can see, initially as there are no elements inside your queue, both of your front and rear will be null. Front and rear will be null, and this particular condition indicates the emptiness of your queue. Have to remember. how we are indicating an empty queue in the singly linked list implementation, in the linked list implementation, in the sense if you have both front and rear as null, that particular situation will give you an empty queue. Okay, so whenever we are performing, whenever we are inserting the first element, both my front and rear pointers will change and they will point to that newly created node. This is only in case of the first inserted element. Only in case of the first inserted elements, and rest will do in a different way. From the second element, we will do in a different way. See, over here my queue was empty. My queue was empty. Now I have inserted 11 into my queue. When I am inserting this 11 into my queue, what I am doing? Both my pointers are changing. Both front as well as rear, they are pointing to that newly created element. Okay, pointing to that newly created element. So that is, this is my newly created element, and front and rear both are pointing to that. Both are having that same address. So no more my queue is empty. No more my queue is empty. Inserting the second node, enqueuing the second node, that is 22 I am enqueuing. So when I am enqueuing the second node, what I am doing? I am changing only the rear. I am not changing the front. Front will remain as it is. Front will point the first node itself. But rear is moving ahead, and rear is pointing the newly created node, the second node in my queue. So that is the reason why only the rear pointer's address is changing and front pointer's address is remaining as it is. So the next thing, adding the third element, again only the rear is changing, front is remaining intact. Adding 44, only rear is changing, front is intact. Now we perform the dequeue. Okay, dequeue means removal operation, removing the elements. So always, yes, dequeue will be performed in reverse order. As we performed in stack, always we are popping the top only, but here it will be reversed, and we are removing the elements from the front of the queue, not from the rear end. Okay, front we are removing and moving the front ahead. So front node we are removing and moving the front pointer ahead. Likewise, we'll move till both will become till the front will become null. Till the front will become null. If front is becoming null, indirectly what we are doing in the removal operation only. This has to be checked in dequeue operation only. This has to be checked in dequeue. In dequeue operation, whenever my front is becoming null, immediately what I have to do? I have to make my rear also null to indicate the complete queue as empty. To indicate the complete queue as empty. If I forgot to do any of these things, my queue will not become operational. We will get errors inside the implementation, in short. So quickly we see the program implementation of this queue using linked lists. See, isEmpty condition, as we have seen inside this graphical representation. IsEmpty is nothing but both my front as well as rear needs to be null. If front equals to null and rear equals to null, that is nothing but my empty condition, queue empty condition. So return front equals to null, or rear equals to null. Okay. So if any of these condition is matching, okay, so in your dequeue only there is a possibility that the front and rear will become null. So if one is becoming null, ultimately what we are doing? We are making the second thing also null. So yeah, if this condition is matching, if this condition is meeting inside your implementation, then we call that particular condition as isEmpty condition. IsEmpty condition of your queue. Then enqueuing, create the new node, check whether the queue is empty or not, move the rear pointer ahead, make the rear pointer to point the newly created node. Only that thing we have to do. See, new node of data is equals to new data, new node of next equals to null, and yeah, if it is the first node, then what we are doing? Make the front and rear as equals to null. Else what we are doing? Yeah, here we are checking whether it is empty or not. If it is empty means both my front and rear are null. In that case, this means we are adding the newly created node as the first node inside the queue. We are adding the newly created node as the first node inside the queue. So in that case, what we have to do? We have to make both my front and rear as the newly created node. So front equals to rear equals to new node. Okay, we are storing the new node's address into front as well as into rear. Else, that means if the queue is not empty when you are performing the enqueue operation, that means there are nodes already existing. There are nodes already existing. In that case, what we have to do, we no need to change the front. We have to change only the rear. So make the rear of next equals to newly created node, and then make the rear itself the newly created node. Okay, rear of next, it must have to point the newly created node and make the rear itself as newly created node. Okay, so this is what the next thing, the dequeue operation, uh, removing the node from the queue. And removal, how we perform, whenever we are performing the removal, first we have to check whether the queue is empty or not. If the queue is empty, we can't perform the removal. So here only we are exiting. Then, yes, note, this, then create, take a temporary pointer, because we have to move the front ahead. If you are moving the front ahead, there will be no link to the first node. There will be no link to the first node. So to have a link to the first node when the front is moving ahead, we are creating a temporary pointer, or nothing but temporary node, and we are making the temporary node to point the front, to take the front's place, and then move the front ahead. Move the front ahead. And if you want to print whatever data you are removing, that also you can do. Simply take out the data, okay, and print that data. Okay, then finally what we have to do, delete the newly created, delete the first node. Okay, delete the first node. And if when you are deleting the first node, if your front is, if your rear is becoming null, or if your front is becoming null, or in short, if your isEmpty condition is going true, then make the rear also null. Okay, this particular thing, as I told you, we have to take care of this particular thing. Whenever your stack is going, queue is going empty, don't forget to make the rear as null. It is very, very important. So whenever in your dequeue operation, inside your dequeue operation, whenever the queue is becoming empty, because see, when we are deleting the nodes, when we keep on delete, at some point what will happen? The queue will become empty. When the queue will become empty? When front goes to null. When front goes to null, because we are performing the delete operation using the front pointer only. So at some point, when there are no elements inside your queue, then front will become null. So if your front becomes null, then isEmpty will return true. Because inside isEmpty, we are saying either the front has to go null or the rear has to go null. So over here, what will happen? Your front will become null. So if your front is becoming null, then immediately what we have to do, make the rear also null to make your complete queue as empty. So this thing we have to remember. Then finally, display. Display, simply we have to traverse and we have to print all the elements. So before performing the traversal also, we need to check whether the queue is empty or not. If the queue is empty, means how can we perform the traversal? It is meaningless. So simply check whether the queue is empty or not. If the queue is empty, we simply terminate the operation there itself. Don't go further. And if the queue is not empty, read all the elements from your queue and print all the elements on the output screen. The same thing this function will do. You can do this step-by-step analysis also of this function. Okay, so quickly we see the implementation of this function inside implementation of this queue using singly linked list on your IDE. Okay, so just take the empty file. I'm starting the writing part of this program. So initially what we have to do, add your header files. Okay, hash include iostream. Okay, then using namespace std. Okay, then create the class node of, inside this put the data part, public int data, and take the pointer part, node star next. So this is my class. Close this class. After this, take two pointers and make them null. As we are making the head as null, here we don't need head, but we need two other pointers. One is rear and the other one is front and rear. So declare those two, node star front and make it null, because initially we are considering the queue as empty without any insertion, okay, without any enqueue operation. So node star rear also equals to null. So like this we are going to have. Then what we have to do, yeah, start slowly. First we'll write the isEmpty function, because it is very easy, right? So isEmpty function will always return the boolean value. So boolean is empty, okay. It will not take anything, it will simply check whether the queue is empty or not. So when the queue will become empty, yeah, return of if at all your front equals to null, or rear equals to null, sorry, equals to null. If any of these two conditions are meeting, ultimately this function will return true. That means queue is empty. So the next thing, we have to perform the enqueue operation. So void, as it will take only the data. Enqueuing, it will take only the data, it will not return anything. So enqueue operation of pass the data, that is nothing but our new data. See, this terminology I'm keep on repeating. Whatever terms I'm using, whatever variables I'm using inside my programming, even that terms I'm maintaining separately. A unique names I'm taking. Whenever we are passing some data to the data structure, we are calling that data as new data. Whenever we are creating a new node inside our data structure, we are calling that node as new node only, okay, just to have the similarity between the implementation and the concept. So the next thing what we have to do, immediately go and see, yes, create the new node. As we are performing the insert operation, that is nothing but enqueue operation, create the new node, and allocate the memory equals to, because we don't need a pointer over here, it is a complete node we need. So new node of, okay, likewise node of. So the next thing, yeah, we have to check whether the memory is allocated properly or not. If nothing inside new node, that means memory allocation issue. If nothing inside new node, that means, as I said, there is no useful condition, you can use up to the limit of your main memory. So C out of heap overflow. So heap overflow. So only the heap overflow can occur, but there is no full condition inside your implementation. So return or exit also you can use anything. So next thing, if this condition is not true, that means if memory is been allocated to your newly created node, then add this newly created node to the queue. From to where we can add, to where we can enqueue. Yeah. First, let us just add the data into that new node and make the next node as null. So new underscore node of, like this we access, right? Node of data equals to new data. Then new node arrow indirect reference. Then data already we have inserted. Sorry, next pointer. Next equals to what we have to put it in null. Put null. Okay, because we are adding this at the rear end, and after the rear end we are going to have null, nothing, isn't it? If it is the last node, there will be nothing after that node. So, and we are adding the new nodes at the last place only. Inside a queue, we are adding the new node at the last place only. Remember that one. So after adding this, yeah, C out of print that one. Backslash n, what element we have enqueued, that element you have to print. Enqueue, what element we have enqueued, that new data, isn't it? New underscore data. So new data we have enqueued inside the queue. So next thing, yeah, now after, yeah, this statement, it has to come afterwards. So before this only we have to write some statements. Yeah, we have to perform the enqueue basically. after creating the new node, after adding the data and making the next pointer as null, we have to add this node into the queue. So that insertion, that enqueuing, it is of two types: when the queue is completely empty and when there are elements into the queue. So two cases. I'm going with the first case now. When the queue is completely empty, that means isEmpty will return true. If isEmpty is returning, true, in that case what we have to do? If isEmpty is returning true, then yes, make front equals to rear equals to new node. Both should point the first node. Yeah, where is our PPT? Yeah, here it is, our PPT. See, when both the things are null, when rear is null, front is null, that means when queue is empty. When queue is empty, what we are doing? We are making both our front and rear to point the newly created node. Okay, so the same operation we have done over here. So after this, if this is not the case, that means if the queue is not empty, that we are going to put inside the else part. If the queue is not empty, what we are doing? Simply rear of next will make it to point the new node. Rear of next equals to new underscore node. Now rear itself has to become the new node. Make the rear as new node, new underscore node. That's it. So this will add the newly created node inside the queue at two different cases. Afterwards, what we have to do? Yeah, the dequeue operation. Dequeue will return the value. So int dequeue. It is up to you where you want to put dequeue, whether you want dequeue function to return the value or dequeue function without returning. Inside the dequeue function also you can print the value. So dequeue function will return the value but not take any value. So the next thing, int yes, here whatever dequeue function is going to delete, we call that data as temporary data. So temporary data, that means the node which you are deleting, what data it is holding. That data we are going to store inside this temporary data. Okay. So before deleting, compulsory you have to check whether the queue is empty or not. If is empty, if it is returning true, that means if the queue is empty, we don't have anything to perform. So simply print cout \n queue is underflow. If there is emptiness condition and you are performing the enqueue operation when the queue is empty, there will be an queue underflow condition. So that I am writing over here, queue is under flow. Okay. So next thing, here only you have to return. When the queue is empty, return. Then what we have to do? Yes, if this is not the case, that means if the queue is not empty, when you are performing the dequeue, if the queue is not empty, take a pointer, a temporary pointer, because we are moving the front now. We are moving the front one step ahead. So whatever first node we are having, where the front was pointing, that node we need to have a link. If we move the front ahead, and if you're not going to put any link to that front node, ultimately what will happen? It will become dangling, isn't it? It is not going to have any branch, any support to it. It will dangle. And afterwards, after moving the front, we don't have any reference to delete that one. So yeah, to delete that one, we need to have a reference. That reference we are taking with the help of temporary pointer. It is a pointer of type node. Take the temporary pointer and make it as front. Okay, take the temporary pointer and make it as front. So next thing is read the temp data. Temp data, from where we can read? Temp data from the, because we have not yet moved the front, isn't it? So front of data. Front of data. So front of data, where the front was pointing, front is pointing, that data is nothing but the data about to be deleted. Where the front is pointing now, because we'll move the front and we'll delete that data. So where the front is pointing now, that data will become the temp data, because we are deleting that data. So the next thing is we have moved the we have read the data inside temp data. So now move the front. How we can move the front? Front equals to front of next. This we did many times, isn't it? front equals to front of next, what it will do? Move the front one step ahead. So now, the temporary data, you print it as item to be dequeued. Okay, item to be dequeued, you can print that data. Yeah, or we can return, because we have taken deque return value as integer, so you can return that as the last statement. You can return that. So after moving this front ahead, delete the temp data, delete of temp data. So when you are performing the deque operation, you need to, if inside the deque operation, if the queue is going empty, if the queue is going empty, then what we do? If the queue is going empty, we make the rear as null. We make the rear as null. If the queue is going empty, make the rear as null. So this statement, it is an very important statement I told you. Okay, if the queue is going empty, simply make the rear as null. So the next thing, yeah, when you performed all the operations, as the last statement, return that temporary data. Return the temporary data from this function, from this deque function. So this is how we perform the deque operation, which will return an integer type of element. So after deque, yeah, display. If you want, you can print all the elements from the queue by taking the help of display. So as we know, we need a pointer to traverse, to perform the traverse, and when we are performing the traversal, we should not change any rear, any front, any top, like that. Simply take a new pointer and perform the traversal and leave that pointer. Don't change any standard pointers which are responsible for holding your linked list data structure, stack data structure, queue data structure. Whenever we are performing the traversal, take new pointers, temporary pointers, and delete them. So now I'm taking a temporary pointer, then check if at all your queue is empty or not. If E is empty, because if your queue is empty, we don't, it is not possible to perform the traversal operation. So simply print a statement that queue is empty. It is not under flow condition, it is queue is empty condition. So take the \n over here, just to have more clarity. Okay, queue is empty. Print this statement, then return from here itself. If the queue is empty, means we can't go further. So simply return from here itself. If the queue is not empty, so then what we have to do? Yeah, we have to take temp equals to front, because we have to start from front and we have to print till rear. That is nothing but till front will become null. So sorry, till temp will become null. Till that point we have to print. So the next thing, cout of, yeah, I'm just taking one simple statement, endl elements in the QR, because this will give us separation over there. Elements in QR, okay, elements in QR, then while, till what extent we have to print, till what extent we have to traverse, until and unless your temp will become null. If your temp is becoming null, means there only we have to stop. So now print the data. So what data we can print? Cout of, okay, temp of data only, na, isn't it? We have to print temp of data. So just to have a separation, you can take a space also, separation between the elements. So the next thing, after printing the current nodes data value, move the temp one step ahead. So that is temp equals to temp of next. Temp equals to temp of next. That's it. With this, all operations we have implemented, like traversal, deletion, insertion, checking the emptiness. All operations we have implemented. So now what we have to do? Yeah, write your main function. Write your main function, int main of void. Then, yeah, initially my queue will be empty, right? So if I display, If I perform display, what I will get, quickly see. So what I have to do, I have to save this program. So Control S. I'm saving this program as QLL, Q implementation using linked list, QLL.cpp. Save this. Now go and compile. Yeah, here one mistake, null spelling I have misspelled. So save this, again execute, compile. Okay, return. What it is saying? Return statement with no value. Okay, so better you put exit only here. Exit with 1. Okay. So temp data, integer type temp data. So delete of, no, not temp data, delete of temporary pointer. We have to delete the, not the data we have to delete, but we have to delete the complete node, isn't it? So that node reference is inside temp. So we are deleting temp. Okay, successful. Now just go and see, execute and run. See, queue is empty. We are getting this message because we have not done any insertion so far. So that is the reason why I'm getting this queue is empty statement. So now I will perform some insertion. Let us say I'm enqueuing enqueue of some 10. 10 I am performing enqueue. So again display. So now first it will give you here, it will give you queue is empty. Here what it will do, it will display 10. No, here it will perform the enqueue of 10 and here it will display 10. Okay, here it will display 10. Now execute, compile, compilation successful, execute, run, see. Queue was empty, then we enqueued 10. So when you enqueue 10, it is displaying that one. Elements in queue are 10. Likewise, we are getting. So enqueue another element. So now I'm enqueuing. So I will copy this only instead of typing again. Take that one and here you put 20. Okay. So after enqueuing 20, do the display. Second element we enqueued and do the display. So here after 10, 20 it has to display. So quickly check, compile, compilation successful, execute. See, 10, 20. It was having 10 only, now we got 20 also. 10, 20. We enqueued 20 also. Again enqueue one more. Enqueue one more. Enqueue 30, control C. Here you enqueue. 30 we are enqueuing. So you will get like this. Save it, execute, compile, successfully compiled, execute, run. You can see 10, 20, 30. Enqueue another. Enqueue two more. This time I'm enqueuing two more. So enqueue 40 will give you here 40 and enqueue 50. Enqueue 50 will give you here 50. See the implementations I suggest you to do very soon, maybe from the next week. Already you got the timetable. From the next week we're gonna start the lab experiments. You have to come to the college batch wise. You have to come to the college to do the practical stuff. So that we are planning from the next week, next Monday onwards. Hopefully I will see you there. Uh, and I suggest you come with an observation and proper planning has to be done because we have to execute more than one program on that day, and I need you people to be very specific without wasting any of the time. You have to complete. We'll divide the people in batch wise and you have to do the execution. You have to check the outputs and you have to write the code, everything. Okay, So try to utilize the time as much as possible. Executed compiled successfully, then execution, you see 10, 20, 30, 40. Now we perform the 40, 50, up to 50 we got. Now we perform the deletion operation, that is nothing but dequeue operation. So in order to dequeue, we don't need to pass any element, and simply we check from where it will do the dequeue. So actually, according to our concept, it has to dequeue what? Does it has to dequeue 50 or it has to dequeue 10? It has to dequeue 10. So we need to get like this. When you are displaying, after dequeue, when you are displaying, it has to give 20, 30, 40, 50 only. We'll quickly see whether it will give or not. Compilation, it is successful. And then go and execute. See, we got 10 dequeued. We got 10 dequeued. So we are getting 20, 30, 40, 50 only. Or because this dequeue, it will return an element, that element also you can print. So here declare one variable, okay, int dequeue, okay, or it is similar to function temp also you will get confused. Data, normal data I'm taking. So here whatever data we are dequeuing, that data we will get here. So that also you can print, okay, dequeue. So here you can print cout of data dequeued. Data dequeued equals to, or simply put a semicolon, data dequeued is what? Data only. Here we have to put one more, okay. Now put the semicolon at the end, save the program, okay. Data dequeued, data 20, 30, 40, 50. So save this, execute. Sorry, I forgot to compile. Execute, compile. Compilation is successful. Execute, run. Now you see that we are getting, okay. To be more specific, I will put \n here, okay. So now you see how it will come. Compile, run. Yes, you can see. Yeah, here when 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 was there, we performed dequeue operation. So data dequeued, 10 got dequeued, and now elements in the queue are 20, 30, 40, 50 only. Perform the dequeue one more time. Okay, perform the dequeue one more time. So this time what will happen? Yeah, this 20 will be dequeued and you will get 30, 40, 50. Quickly see that one. So compilation successful, run, see. 20 got dequeued, previously 10 got dequeued, now 20 got dequeued, we are getting 30, 40, 50 only. One more time. Okay, so here this 30 will also be deleted. 30 will also be deleted and you will get only 40 and 50. See, compile, run, check this one. You got only 40 and 50. 30 got dequeued. So remove this 40 also. So twice I will perform and I will show you. So now after deleting this one more dequeue, will delete 40 and you perform one more dequeue, that will delete 50 also. That will delete this 50 also, and here what you will get after deleting that 50 also, if you perform the display, you will get queue is empty. And when the queue is empty, okay, when the queue is empty, at that point if you try to perform the dequeue, what message we will get, we will see. First we will check like this, okay, when the queue is empty. So compile, compilation successful, then execute, run. You see this one, queue is empty. It has dequeued 40, so we got only 50. It has dequeued 50 also, and we got queue is empty message. So after this message, if I perform the dequeue, no need to display, only just perform the dequeue. See what message we will get. Does it going to dequeue? If it is dequeuing, means it will print that element. No, it will not print that element as well. We will see what message we will get. Compilation successful, run. See, queue under flow. Queue under flow we are getting. So when the queue is empty, we are performing the dequeue, so we are getting queue under flow message. So in this way, you have to remember the implementation. It is very, very important. Implementation of queue, implementation of stack, using arrays, using singly linked list. It is very important and it is very easy. Hopefully you understood. So thank you very much, students. In this class, up to this only. In our next class, we'll be starting the very important concept, that is a doubly linked list. It is more complicated than your singly linked list. I need your participation, I need your attention, I need your regular attendance. It is also very, very important. For the first meets, to some extent we followed, and we allowed you people, because in this pandemic we thought of not troubling you people. That is the reason why we have allowed you. But for the second meet, believe me, definitely they are going to tally the attendance, and only if you people have 75% attendance, then only you will be allowed to write the examination. Okay, this time no lenience. These are the orders from your management, these are the orders from your head of the department, and you need to obey, you need to follow. Don't expect any sort of lenience this time. This time they are very much specific. Hopefully you understood. And passing this coding subject is not uh, that much difficult if you give uh, attention, if you give time, if you show some sort of effort. Definitely you will clear this subject. And believe me, last time under my guidance, whatever question paper they got, 80% of the question paper is from my question bank, was from my question bank. What questions I made specific, they got 80% of the question paper from those questions only. So this time also we can expect the same, and I'm suggesting you not to miss any of my session, and follow all the sessions and do the practical stuff immediately after the session. And it has to be a rigorous practice. It is not something like that once you have executed, okay, I got the output, I'm happy. It should not be like that. You have to analyze, you have to understand each and every statement, whatever we are coding here. Okay, and you need to become masters in this one. Then only in your upcoming semesters, when we do more difficult stuff, it will become very easy for you. Okay, so thank you very much, students.